Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going peer-to-peer. I'm going to share the ultimate insider secrets that top high-achieving students use to absolutely crush massive syllabi, completely stress-free. Seriously, it's time to completely rewire how you prep for exams. Let's get right into it.
We've all been there, right? You're glued to your desk for 6 hours straight. You've got the neon highlighters, the massive stack of sticky notes, like 3 empty cups of coffee. You put in a massive shift, but then you walk into the exam room and nothing. You completely blank on a concept you swore you reviewed twice. It's the worst feeling in the world. But here's the secret. The problem isn't a lack of effort. You are definitely working hard enough. The problem? It's a lack of strategy.
Okay, let's dive into this because this distinction right here changes everything. Most students operate in what we're going to call coverage mode. They feel this overwhelming need to touch every single page, read every slide, and highlight every chapter to feel prepared. Honestly, it's exhausting and it just spikes your anxiety. Today, we're shifting gears into strategy mode. Strategy mode is empowering. It's about realizing that being super thorough on the wrong material is just a really expensive way to waste your time. That coverage mindset leads directly into what we call the perfect coverage trap. Trying to learn 100% of your syllabus equally, that's a dangerous illusion of control. I mean, it feels safe because you're looking at every single detail, but it actually dilutes your attention. By spreading your effort equally across the board, you end up going deep on absolutely nothing. You're wasting incredibly valuable time on peripheral details that rarely, if ever, get tested, and it comes at the direct expense of mastering the core concepts.
Enter our first absolute game changer, the Pareto principle. You probably know it as the 80-20 rule. Applied to studying, this principle dictates that roughly 80% of your exam results are going to come from mastering just 20% of your study material. Some topics in your syllabus are just disproportionately valuable. They're the foundation, the load-bearing ideas. This means that if you're spreading equal effort across all your chapters, you're actively working against your own grades. You have to intensely focus on that vital 20%.
To really capitalize on that 20%, we're going to combine it with our second secret weapon, backward design. This is a curriculum concept where instead of just opening a heavy textbook and reading chronologically from chapter 1, you actually start at the end. You identify your desired results, figure out what the actual assessment or exam is going to look like, and then, and only then, do you design your study activities to hit that specific endpoint. Top students teach themselves toward the assessment, not just blindly through the textbook.
And finding this load-bearing 20% and planning backward from what the exam will actually test, that is the ultimate key to maximizing your marks per minute. Think about it. When you combine the 80-20 rule with backward design, your study sessions get faster, they get sharper, and they become far less stressful. You stop obsessing over what you don't know, and you start locking down exactly what you need to know to score high. So the obvious question you're probably asking right now is, how do we actually filter out all the noise to find that unlabeled, high-yield 20% out in the wild? Because let's face it, that high-yield material usually isn't labeled with a glowing neon sign in your textbook. You really have to learn how to identify those crucial concepts. Because once you find the vital few, you can safely just skim the rest for context. Well, here is your cheat code, the high-yield filter. First, past exams. Professors absolutely love to reuse question types, so hunt for those patterns. Second, syllabus weighting. If a topic gets 3 whole lectures in a lab, yeah, it's heavily weighted. Third, professor cues. Listen, if your professor says, this will definitely show up, that is literally the oldest and most important hint in academia. Take it seriously. And finally, frequency of repetition. If a concept keeps popping up across multiple modules, it's a core node. Bam, that is your 20%.
Okay, so now that we know what to look for, let's talk about actually getting it done. Staring down a massive semester-long syllabus can cause absolute paralysis. The sheer volume of pages alone can make your brain just shut down. But remember, speed doesn't come from pressure. It comes from clarity and rhythm. We have to break that monster of a complex syllabus down so you can actually attack it without burning out.
I absolutely love this quote from our research. When the mountain turns into pebbles, your brain relaxes. Instead of sitting down and saying, I'm going to finish all of biology today, which, let's be real, is impossible and terrifying, you say, I'm going to complete just the high-yield plant physiology questions today. Small, visible targets create small wins. Those small wins build incredible momentum, and momentum quietly defeats the stress of that massive syllabus. Now, what's really interesting here is the immediate shift from planning to action. First, you survey the terrain by skimming headings. Second, you use that filter we talked about to identify the vital few topics.
Third, you go active immediately. Please do not spend a whole week making pretty color-coded schedules. Just set up 40 to 50-minute focused study blocks around those few vital pebbles. Consistent, focused bursts beat long, exhausted stretches every single time.
So, once you're inside one of those 40 to 50-minute blocks focusing on a high-yield topic, how do you actually study it? Let's get into the execution phase. We're going to use a highly efficient active learning loop. This is exactly how you make sure the information actually sticks in your brain for exam day. This is the 3-step flow. Step 1, understand, learn the concept without rushing. Step 2, practice, solve a few questions to lock the mechanics in. Step 3, and this is absolutely crucial, recall. Close the book and pull the information completely from memory. This recall step is literally like cement. True learning happens when you try to pull information out of your brain, not when you keep shoving it in by just staring at a page.
So the crucial point is this: stop reading. I know, passive reading feels super productive, but it gives you incredibly poor retention. Instead, start compressing. Take your high-yield chapters and condense them down into one-page sheets. Create a quick answer skeleton, an intro, main points, a conclusion, and drop in a few memory hooks like acronyms. Having smaller, compressed material immediately lowers your anxiety and drastically improves your recall speed.
Let's move ahead and see how this builds over time. This is the 2-3-5-7 method, a scientifically proven spaced repetition framework. It goes like this. You review on day 1, recall from memory on day 2, test yourself on day 3, test again on day 5, and focus only on your weak gaps on day 7. By intentionally spacing out your active recall sessions like this, you completely defeat the forgetting curve and guarantee long-term retention. No last-minute cramming required.
Now, we absolutely have to address a massive roadblock, especially for high-achieving students, and that is perfectionism. It's that toxic, paralyzing desire to know absolutely every single detail perfectly before you let yourself move on to the next chapter. Listen, when time is short, perfectionism will burn your remaining hours and completely destroy your decision quality.
Here is the insider truth you need to hear. Aim for progress, not perfection. Think about how an exam is actually graded in the real world. Exams reward useful, structured, partial output. If you manage to write down 3 out of 5 points in a logical order, you collect marks. But if you just sit there staring at a blank page, waiting for a perfect textbook memory to magically pop into your head, you collect 0.
To put that into perspective, hitting just 70% clarity today on a high-yield topic will save you hours of sheer panic tomorrow. It keeps your mind calm, and a calm mind learns way faster than a worried one. By accepting that good enough is often the exact right target under time constraints, you keep your momentum steady and you end up covering significantly more of that crucial 20%.
So I want to leave you with this provocative question to really think about. What is your 20% for your next exam? I challenge you right now, drop the illusion of the perfect coverage trap. Pick just one high-yield topic, break it down into a tiny, manageable pebble, and start your first 25-minute active recall block today. You don't need to study everything, you just need to study the right things. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy studying.